All right, now to this CNN exclusive reporting. Former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has complied with the Department of Justice subpoena. This is tied to the investigation into the January 6th insurrection. Meadows is now the highest-ranking Trump official known to have responded to a DOJ subpoena in this investigation.
CNN's Katelyn Polantz, as she always is, following the story closely. So tell us what we learned and what this all means.
Well, Mark Meadows is indeed the highest-ranking person from the Trump administration to receive and to respond to a federal grand jury subpoena related to the 2020 election. So my colleagues, Pam Brown, Evan Perez, Jeremy Herb, Kristen Holmes, they were able to confirm last night that Meadows gave to the Justice Department the same records he's already provided to the House Select Committee investigating January 6th. So thousands of his text messages and emails will now be in prosecutors' hands. Things like texts with the former president's son as the Capitol was falling under attack. Many of these chats we've already seen, Jim and Poppy, but with cabinet members, Republican members of Congress, lawyers, many of them were talking to Meadows as they were trying to help Trump overturn his election loss, or they were trying to get Meadows to have Trump get things under control, which did not happen. So this grand jury, right now, what we know is what's coming in here, they aren't going to be getting everything that Meadows has, and that's because Meadows has withheld quite a bit because he's been trying to claim executive privilege, this confidentiality around the presidency. And it's possible that the Justice Department could come back to try and get more from him later, but this is a start. And it adds to an astonishing sweep right now that we know of that the Justice Department is doing, looking for evidence of possible crimes, even potentially what was being discussed inside the White House after the election. And we're also tracking grand jury subpoenas in this same investigation for other people around the presidency, like the presidency's top lawyers, White House counsel Pat Cipollone, Deputy Patrick Philbin, he's in the White House counsel's office, other advisors, aides to Meadows. So dozens of people are hearing from the DOJ, and the DOJ is going to have to go through all of this. Jim and Poppy?
Yes, lots to go through. For us, too. Katelyn Polantz, thanks very much. Joining us now, Paul Rosenzweig. He was a senior counsel during the Whitewater investigation, also former Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy at DHS. Good to have you back, Paul. So I wonder, as you see someone like Mark Meadows with, I imagine, pretty decent lawyers give in here, in effect, to the DOJ subpoena, are you seeing, in effect, the broadest of executive privilege claims fall apart for Trump and close Trump team members here?
It's interesting you say that, because I'd actually read it almost the other way, which is to say he already gave this stuff to the January 6th committee, so it's out of his control in some way. And the fact that he continues to maintain the executive privilege is a little bit actually more of a finger in the eye of the Department of Justice's investigation, forcing the department to litigate the issue, notwithstanding the fact that his claim of executive privilege is probably pretty close to frivolous.
I think also on Mark Meadows, could you just speak, Paul, to the significance of complying here, given how proximate he was to so many discussions regarding not just one attempt to overturn the election, but different attempts and strategies to do so?
Well, that I think is of significance. Meadows is obviously a key percipient witness to the events that happened between the time of the election and January 6th. Everything from Trump's call to Georgia to any discussions Trump might have had with John Eastman to discussions on the day of the January 6th insurrection, including Trump's decision or lack of decision to try and stop the effort from happening, to call out the National Guard. So Meadows will be a significant witness. I think to put a better point on it, I think actually this is sort of the prosecution of Steve Bannon coming home to roost, which is to say that Meadows, along with a lot of other folks, has seen that there will actually be consequences for going too far in defying the Department of Justice. And as you said, he does have a good lawyer, so he's going to try and walk as fine a line as he possibly can.
Okay, so we got that investigation, then we have the ongoing documents investigation and the special master decision to come. Where is this all going to land? Obviously the DOJ is looking for a little, urgency here. They've planned to ask the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals to intervene if the judge does not respond today.
I think that's right. There is a sense of urgency, at least in part because they don't want this litigation playing out too close to the election for fear of being called political, but also because the judge's decision, as it is unmoored from precedent, really threatens to throw a wrench into the investigation. I think that if the judge were to walk back the decision somewhat today and grant all or part of DOJ's request, the department would probably live with it as best it could, and that would be their best way forward. But if they don't, if the judge doesn't give them some relief, I'm going to expect a petition for an expedited appeal.
Right. I mean, we know DOJ is appealing to the 11th Circuit. I guess my question is sort of bigger picture beyond what happens with this special master request, just the precedent that it sets if the Trump legal team gets exactly what they want, and if Judge Cannon's ruling stands, that there is this executive privilege in this way for a former president out of office.
Well, that would be a tragically bad decision. It would indicate that former presidents are not just citizens, but occupy some sort of special post-kingly place where they get special rules for themselves. It would be contrary to the express provisions of the Presidential Records Act. It would be contrary to the Department of Justice's conception of presidential immunity while in office, where they've explicitly conditioned that on a president being subject to criminal charges after he leaves. It would be contrary to U.S. versus Nixon, which says that executive privilege doesn't extend to cloak criminality. It would be so orthogonal to existing precedent that it's really hard to figure out exactly how it would fit in. And I have to say that even with conservative judges on the 11th Circuit and conservative justices on the Supreme Court, I can't imagine that Judge Cannon's decision would stand. It would just brook a lot of delay.